welcome along to this week's episode of the Let's Talk Boxing podcast. We're up to episode 15 now, Jamie. It's quite a unique thing now that we're being this consistent, and it was one thing that we was nailing down coming into 2026, and yeah, we're looking to be consistent, and we're consistent with another special guest. Delighted to join me and Jamie tonight is Brian Phillips. Brian, how we doing, mate?
Yeah, all good. Thank you for having me.
Good
I'm
man.
more nervous to get on this than I am to box.
I'm
So
sure you'll be just fine. Jamie, how are you?
Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry. I was just eating me words from last week. My bad, brother. Uh, but yeah, no, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Raring to go. Another episode. Consistency is key. And yeah, another exciting guest on.
Just before we get going, for those that watch the podcast on YouTube, that's a hell of a shoe collection behind you there, Jamie.
I know, mate. We said this last time, didn't we? Get used to this now.
Brilliant stuff, brilliant stuff. Yeah, so we're coming into the podcast on the back of a hot weekend of action on both sides of the Atlantic. Here in the UK, it was a crowning moment for Josh Pretty Boy Kelly as he defeated Bahkram Murtazaliev for the IBF Super Welterweight title. And then over in the States, Shakur Stevenson done Shakur Stevenson things on a very entertaining card for a number of reasons. But before we get into all that, we're going to switch it back round to our special guest, Brian. Fresh off your Central Area title win, a big fight on your comeback trail. How does
yeah,
it feel to be Central Area champion?
good, good, very good. I've milked it. I've enjoyed every moment. It was just before Christmas, so went into Christmas as a champion, celebrated like a champion. Enjoyed it all. It went everywhere with me. And to be a champion from a stock of Liverpool fighters. The Liverpool fighters have got produced champions, so to join them was an honour.
Absolutely. Like before we get into that fight, I want to rewind a little bit. So we've had you on the channel a couple of times, and it was
Yeah,
only after our second interview that we mentioned that you had dealings with Kieran Farrell in the past. So yeah, talk to us about your
yeah,
past with Kieran Farrell and what went along those days.
yeah. So when I first started, I didn't know what the pro game was about. I didn't know what the business was, what how you do tickets, what percentage. I didn't know nothing about professional boxing. I was an amateur at the time. I love boxing. The game. I love the boxing game. You hit and you don't beat. You hit and move. Hit and don't beat. Mayweather style. Um, so just ABAs, finish it off my career in the amateurs. I'd had enough. But I still wanted. I still knew I had a little something. Then you watch Mayweather. He's got all the fancy cars. He's got all the money. He's got it all. So I thought, you know what? Maybe I can have a little bit of that. Went down, spoke to Kieran. It was a sparring day, and I done well in the spar, and he offered me a contract. He said, "I'll manage you if you want to." I said, "I'll have a little think about it. We'll go home and we'll have a talk with the family and see what's what." I sat on the contract. I sat on the management deal for about a month or two, and I thought, why not? I looked at the likes of Derry Matthews, Tony Bellew, the Smiths, and thought, you know what? If they can do it, why can't I? So I phoned Kieran up. I remember where I was. I was upstairs, and I was nervous to phone him. I phoned him up and I said, "What's the deal? What do we do?" And he said, "Come down. We'll have a little chat. Fill it in." And he helped me. He helped me sign the contract. He helped me with me how to do the medicals. I think he paid me license and the ball rolling. And from the off, he got me on a big show, Liverpool, Echo Arena, Callum Smith undercard. It was a dream debut. I always imagine that. And then 2 weeks later, got me on his show. And then within that, the month later, I was active. I was busy. Um, he done a good job with me.
He's a good guy, Kieran, and he's someone that Jamie will know very well as well. Jamie, just to bring you in on that, Kieran, he,
Yeah,
he looks after his fighters, doesn't he? Whether it's
yeah, he does.
the
He
elite
does.
amateurs, the away fighters, the journeymen, if you like, with all due respect, or the fighters that are getting on to top level shows, he really does look out for his fighters, doesn't he?
Yeah, massively. And I think, like you said, amateurs, journeymen, prospects. Like the one thing with Kieran is you're all treated the same, irrespective of where you're going in the game, where you've been. what you're trying to do at the moment. He treats everybody the same. And it was funny. I had a little bit of a smile when he said that he went down. It was sparring day. 'Cause that's just typical Kieran. When somebody comes with a bit of experience, the first thing he wants to do, right? Let's get you in there. Let's get you see what you're about. He's done it with me. He's gone, oh, I've got a kid here, and I don't know will you come and spar him, because he's got all the tools, but I don't know if he can get hit. So it was quite funny to hear that, because it was like, yeah, that's typical Kieran. Come down on sparring day and see what you're about. But yeah, no, he's a top fellow, and you couldn't ask for it to start. If you're going to come out starting out in the game, you couldn't
Yeah, absolutely. Brian, is there
ask for anybody better to teach you the way, because money.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian, is he Kieran someone that you still keep in touch with to this day? Like, he's still on good terms?
No,
Or?
no. So after me fight, I ended up I felt like I was managed a little bit too quick. He seen him. He managed me good. And whatever what I asked for, he got me. But as a fighter, you need he was a young manager. He was just starting his career himself. He probably learned off me, and I learned off him. I was a little bit rushed for my own good. I was in a rush. I wanted to box anyone, everybody. I thought I was going to be world champion. And I asked Kieran, I want these fights, and he'd just get you them.
Yeah.
Instead of still young, telling me there's no rush, and build me up bit by bit. So I took a defeat 8 months in to me pro career, and I was heartbroken. I was retired. I was done. I was like, I don't want to box ever again. But to be fair, on the night, I like Kieran as a person. On the night, no one's there. All my family, my friends, they're all gone. Kieran's in the dressing room, and he's taking my boots off, and he's a caring fella. But as a manager, it wasn't the right move for me.
Yep.
At the time.
Interesting. So yeah, let's bring it back to, like I say, current times. The Central Area title win, super featherweight. Talk to me about the night. We've said about living off that night and the celebrations. There it is. There's the title there.
It doesn't go nowhere without me.
Oh, man.
Class. So tell me about the night you won in Liverpool. You won the title. Like you say, Liverpool is a fighting city, steeped in boxing history, whether it be the Central Area, the British, the European, the world titles. Huge fight this weekend, which we'll get onto, with Nick Ball defending his world title.
Yeah.
You've etched your name into Liverpool history now. You've got that title. No one can take that away from you. Tell me about the night, the victory, the fight, how it all went down for you.
So the night actually stems back to being with Kieran Farrell and fighting Nick Ball.
Yeah.
So Kieran's managing me. I'm all in. I'm gung go. I wanted to fight everyone. Nick Ball's on the same pack. He's boxed on a few of Kieran's shows. He's ready to fight everyone. He's 5-0. I'm 4-0. Let's make it happen. So we got on a show in Greenbank Sports Centre, and it wasn't my night. I was stopped that night. Whether I should have been or whatever, it doesn't matter. But that place haunted me. Greenbank Sports Centre haunted me. I was beat for the first time as a pro. I didn't like the place. It was horrible. Fast forward, I think it's 7 years on. I get my first a title shot against another Scouser in the same venue.
Yeah.
Wow, I was haunted. I had demons in my mind. I didn't want to box there. I was in away changes again. I was the fighter coming in again, and I thought, you know what? There's only one way to face your demons, and that's to turn around and face them head on. And that's what I've done. I went out there and I put a boxing name, just boxing class.
So is it fair to say now that the Greenbank,
do you feel like
destination for your next birthday party? Maybe you like your next family get together. Is it that kind of joint for you now?
Probably not. No. I put that one to bed.
Good man. Jamie, go on. You was about to say something there, mate. Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no, it's all right. I was just going to say, like, obviously, like you said, you had your demons leading up to that fight. When you won and your hand was lifted, Did you feel like a huge weight had come off your shoulders on the back of, obviously, like you said, you were haunted by there. You were a bit going in to that fight. Wasn't it a place you didn't want to be again because of what had happened last time? But when it was all said and done and you were the crown champion, what was that feeling like? Was it a weight off your shoulders?
Exactly that. So the weight was off my shoulders. The venue to be a champion. Um, just the whole pressure I put on myself. The whole pressure. So even from an amateur, I never ever won a championship. Never even won. Nothing. So the first ever title I've ever won, amateur. So to do that, I could walk away right now. I did walk away, and I weren't even going to come back and box again. So to come back to get a title, I give myself a pat on the back. I was so proud of myself without blowing my own trumpet, and then to do it in them circumstances, it was an extra bonus.
Yeah,
And rightly so, because a lot of people don't realize what a lot of people don't realize, especially casual boxing fans, is how hard it is just to win an area title. Like they don't see how hard it is just to win that. And for you, you're always going to be a champion, no matter what. You'll always be the Central Area champion, and that must be an amazing feeling because, like I said, not everyone does that. There's a lot of people in the pro games that won't ever get near a title that have got the ability to probably fight there, and for whatever reason, not politics, can't sell tickets, don't get the opportunity. And you took it as the away fighter with both hands, and like you said, you're etched in the history books now, and no one can ever take that away from you, whatever happens in the rest of your career.
Yeah. So going back over selling tickets, I didn't have to sell one ticket. I was on a set deal. I was on a certain amount of money, and to be honest, the support that come out was unbelievable. So that night it was about me, and it was my night, and I loved it. But also to give back to the people who've come every single time I've boxed, even on 3 fight losses and the down days and the out days, they back me all the way. To give back to them was an honour. It was brilliant.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It just shows like a bit of relevance and importance to the titles on your journey. Whether if you're a standout amateur, you might skip into English or British title level, but these Central Area titles, these domestic titles, are the bread and butter of the sport, and it's given a lot of relevance to those belts and to the fights that are going to be made for those kind of titles. Just seeing the glint in your eye and the smile on your face, it really is refreshing to see because, say for instance, Conor Benn, he's at the very top echelons of the sport because of his surname and these fights with Kashubank. But we're forever saying on social media he's not won as much as a Central Area title, never mind anything else. It
No.
just goes to show the weight those belts carry and the steps that it can lead to bigger and better opportunities.
Yeah, so I looked past Central Area title. You see these fighters, very good fighters, skipping it. And I overlooked it. I thought I don't want a Central Area title. I turned my nose upon. And maybe I was humbled because I've boxed for a Central Area title before and come up short. And I was humbled. So maybe that was all part of the plan. I don't know. And Tyson Fury, world champion, Lineal champion, Jazza. They've never won a Central Area champion. They never won a title.
You got one over them.
Love that. You see them videos of Tyson Fury and he's got his cabinets with all his belts and all that, and you'd be like, yeah, but you've not got one of these. What we saying?
That's it.
A catch weight bout with Tyson Fury, a defense of your Central Area belt.
I think so. Yeah. I think so. And if Jazz is super featherweight world champion, so we can put both belts on the line. I can fight for the world, and he can fight for the Central Area.
Massive unification. Brilliant stuff.
Jazz is actually managing me at the minute.
Yeah,
Jazz is managing me at the minute, and when he won a world title, he put on his YouTube channel. He was made up. It was the same weekend I won my Central Area title, and he said that he was just as happy for me to win it than he was to win a world title. So that was a big statement from him as well.
You know what? It was a fighter that was going to bring up. Yeah, definitely a big testament of his character. And it was a fighter that I was going to bring up in Jazza Dickens. And we mentioned him on our end of year awards pod in terms of fighter of the year. And he's really starting to get his flowers now, isn't he, Jazza Dickens? And it kind of tailors into that segment of the pod that I wanted to get into. to say that he's a world champion, he's got a huge fight coming up with Anthony Kakachi. Starting off the year with this time last year, started off with a win over Zelfa Barrett, and then I'd end up butchering the fella he beat for the interim world title before he was upgraded. I'd butcher his name, unfortunately, but what a win that was. And as you know, he's your manager, but I'm sure you've got like a personal relationship with him as well. To see him finally get his flowers and get the respect that he's built up over a tough career, Jazza Dickens. He's took on some tough fights. It's really nice to see.
It is. So touching on it. If I was to be awarded, if anyone in the world could be given a world title, if it was myself or Jazza or anybody, the person you'd want would be Jazza, and everyone says the same because he's deserving of it. The hard years of grafting and that, so everyone's made up for him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to give him too much praise because I have DM'd him a couple of times to get him on the channel and he's not got back to me. So we're not giving him too much praise, but for his in-ring
Yeah,
accomplishments,
no,
we'll give him that. He dabbles in the YouTube now, doesn't he? So he's probably
yeah,
thinking, oh, no, I'm not helping
Hey,
the competition.
we've got them all though. We've got them all who can, you know what I mean? You can put a good
Yeah.
word in for us now, you know.
yeah, yeah.
What do you make of that the Kakachi fight, Brian? It's a tough fight for both men, and it's a really, really good fight.
Yeah, it's a tough fight, but I think the fight he was penciled in for was a tougher fight. Um, I think I see Jazz beating him with ease, showing his class, his confidence. But Kakachi is a brilliant fighter as well, so it's like a derby, isn't it? Because he loves Ireland and he's always in Ireland, and Kakachi's he's a good man, a good role model for Ireland boxing as well. So it's it's a shame they have to be a loser.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can kind of see like parallels in their career, can't you? That they kind of went under the radar. They didn't get the plaudits their achievements, their accomplishments, and their ability deserved. And now at the tail end of the careers, they're getting the big fights, getting the big money. Kakachi's been on the lips of a lot of boxing fans with his win over Joe Cordina and Lee
Yeah,
Wood and whatnot. But before that, he was out in the wilderness. He weren't getting many opportunities. So, like you said, there's got to be a loser on the night. But they're both winners at this stage of the career. They've rediscovered themselves,
yeah, they're
refound
both
themselves,
winners.
and it's a big platform. So yeah, shout out to both men. Where's the mindset of Brian Phillips at then? Let's bring it back round to yourself. You got the Central Area title now. Is this? Are you looking at defending that title? Are you thinking taking on some more of these prospects like you've done in your first comeback fight? Where you looking at? You looking at maybe English title? What's the plan?
So I've got four options. Um, no one even knows about them. I made them all up myself.
I
But
thought I put in four good guesses on Twitter. To be fair, if anyone's not seen it, go and
yeah,
have a look on Twitter. I come up with some good options there.
yeah. So I've got good options, but no one knows about them. But they're actual doable. Um, he's an English champion from Manchester, Nadeem.
Ibrahim Nadeem, is
Nadeem.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one. So I'm not sure if he's going to push on for British. I'm not sure, but the English title is there, whether it's against him or not. Then sure he's coming out of retirement. Isaac Lowe will probably be on the show. I like a fight with him. And then these who was it? It was Take Al Sheikh's boy. His name is Mohammed. He trains with Joe Gallagher,
Oh yeah.
super feather.
Yeah.
So he's he hasn't shown nothing. So why not get on one of them shows and test himself? And I believe I'm willing to test myself against anyone. So he's there. And then there's an American show in California, Kieran and Jago's over in Los Angeles. So go and get one of their boys. I don't know. Just keeping my options open in the gym, eating good, training hard, and waiting for the phone call.
Absolutely, Jamie. We've seen that one of the options there that Brian come up with was fighting one of Turkey's prospects. He's fighting under Joe Gallagher. I'd have to go back on box. I can check the gentleman's name. But we've seen fighters take opportunities on those big Saudi cards. Whether it be Mark Chamberlain early doors, and then Josh Padley, who won the European
Yeah.
title this past weekend in fantastic style. You get on one of these big shows, not only getting paid handsomely, but Turkey seems to be a fan of. If you get up there and give a good showing, win, lose or draw, we'll have you back. So that could be a good route for Brian to go down, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I think the influence that he's got on the sport, the money that he brings in. But like you said, I think the main part is when the opportunity is there and you take it, it opens up so many doors. You know, you just rattled off some names there, and Brian could be the same if you go over there, because Brian, you know, you're probably going to go over as the away fighter. You know, he's going to be the one that they're all bigging up, and then if you go on, turn up, come forward, boom, 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 put the work in, get the win, whether it's knockout or a unanimous decision, the world's going to be your oyster from there. And so, yeah, if I had to choose between America or a Riyadh card, I think at this stage a Riyadh card would be the one because of where you can go from that. And I think, like you said, you know, this fella that's training under Joe Gallagher, don't really, you know, is what's he really about, and a good opportunity to go in and rip up the script.
Yeah, so on the after winning the Central Area title, Joe Gallagher actually had a fighter on the show. So Joe knows who I am. Joe's not soft, he knows his boxing. So whether it's it opens a door and it's all God's plan, leave it to God.
Absolutely. You know, Brian, I want to chuck a name out there that was a bit left field because I was looking through, you know, whether it be like a prospect or somebody around domestic level. You know, one name that I thought was a bit left field and could have been an option. He's coming off a loss and he's going to look to get back in the mix. Reece Bellotti.
Yeah. I'd like that fight.
Yeah.
I'd like it. I've actually thought about it, but what's he got to offer? So right now, I'm coming for now. Where I've been and I have to take fights. Now I don't. I can either not box ever again and I'll be happy with my career, or go and have fights. What's going to benefit me? Either it be a very good payday, or whether it be a title fight, or see fights that benefit me. So unless I'm getting paid very well, or I'm getting a title, then it's all on my terms. Everything's on my terms. So even Padley. Does Padley game one at all? What?
Yeah. That's it. Was you impressed with him this past weekend?
Yeah.
Second round knockout. He took him out well, didn't it? Belma had a good win for Josh Padley.
Yeah, so he done what he had to do. He took out who was in front of him. But who was in front of him? Was he there to win? Do you know? I don't know. The only person I know is the fella himself. Josh done what he had to do.
Yeah.
But these questions to be answered.
As much as you say now that you'd take the fight, you know, of course you would. You're a fighter, and that'd be a fantastic opportunity with him being European champion. But do you take, going back to similar to what I was saying a second ago, do you take almost like inspiration from Josh Padley's story, the way you come up on the small holes, took this opportunity, and you see where he is now? He's signed to Matchroom. Is he also a source of inspiration, even though he's a potential rival?
Yeah. So every fighter who gets in the ring, respect everyone. They're putting their life on the line, and to climb from the bottom and do what he's done. Fair play to him. Yeah, he's an inspiration. So good luck to him.
Good man. Just a couple of things to run through before we let you go. Coming up, this is a big rematch between Lee Wood and Josh Warrington at super featherweight, and on that card is stablemate Molly McCann. So a vested interest in the main event, with it being in your weight class, and also your stablemate being on the card as well.
Yeah, so I had a little look at they had the face off. They had the face off behind the ropes, was it all?
Yeah.
And it was good. It was good. It was heated. It was a proper rivalry. They hate each other, don't they? So it's very interesting. I'm not picking a winner. I don't know. I haven't really looked too far into it, but I'd just like to sit back as a fan and watch them both go at it. So it'll be a good fight. And then Molly's flying in the gym. She's doing everything right. She's working hard. So I can't wait. I can't wait to go and support her.
Absolutely. Just a quick one on that, Jamie, because I know on Fight Week we'll be looking more into it in terms of a preview. But Lee Wood, Josh Warrington, yeah, they're not the fighters they were, and they're coming to the tail end of the career. They might not get into world title contention again, but we love these domestic clashes, don't we? When there's just pride and honour on stake. There's no world title. There doesn't need to be a world title. Looking forward to Lee Wood and Josh Warrington. Have I lost him? The joys of technology?
No, I'm still here.
I think I might have lost Jamie. Jamie, are you on?
I'm here, yeah. I'm still here.
Good man. Yeah. So
the question was to Jamie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I was just saying, we're looking forward to these domestic dust-ups, these 50-50s.
He's not eating again, is he?
I thought it was aimed at you. I'm not good. It paused for a second. I thought it was aimed at you, so I was waiting for you to start answering. But no, yeah, we do. We love a good British domestic dust up. It's mad because it's one of them where, like you said, Lee Wood and Josh Warrington on paper. If you were, a hardcore boxing fan, you might be like, not from the UK anyway. You're probably like, well, it's not really that interesting. But as British fight fans, there's nothing better than the two when they're up there. Even if they don't have to be up there, but they're coming through. We just love seeing a British dust up, and it's how you can have a Chris Eubank and Conor Benn for no world title selling out a stadium, and I think that's the best thing with the British fight fans. When it's two good domestic fighters coming together, you're always going to get everybody turning out for it. I don't know what it is. We're a bit mad when it comes to watching our own. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. It is, and there's a lot of heated rival with it as well to add to the tension.
Yeah, we look forward to that. Brian, I'll just pick your brains on this weekend before you go. Like we say, Liverpool, big fight city. They went through a bit of a quiet time after the Smith brothers and Callum Smith going fighting abroad and whatnot. But Nick Ball's really bringing the big fights back to Liverpool. It's the kind of city where when the fight's on at the weekend, the fight week will tend to buzz. You getting the feel for it in and around Liverpool that there's a big fight coming this weekend?
Yeah, yeah. So don't like to give much credit to Nick because of the defeat, but you've got to give credit where it's due. He's he's not just an a fighter, come forward fighter. He's a smart fighter as well. He can box, and he's beating everyone he put in front of him, and he's doing it in a very good style, very good fashion. So Nick's hot on everyone's lips at the minute.
Yeah.
He's doing what he has to do. Figure roller is in our gym, the Kirkdale gym.
Okay.
So I train the amateurs of a night time. So I train in the day myself in the gym. Then I go to the amateur gym by myself and train a few of the amateurs. Figure rollers in our gym. So I think the lads are going to get a few tickets as well off the team.
Yeah.
So it's a good insight to both sides.
Absolutely. What do you make of the size difference? I think was it 7-8 inches in height. Nick's he's a short fighter. He's built a career on being a small fighter. It's not something that's going to change overnight. Do you see that playing a part, Brendan Figueroa? He was a two-time world champion, so he's no mug. He's coming to win. But is his physical advantages, the size, the reach, is that going to play a part on Saturday night, in your opinion?
No. So Nick's fighting these all the time. He's boxing the bigger fighters all the time. Everyone he gets in is bigger than him, and that doesn't make a difference. It probably makes it easier for him. He's punching up. His head's out the way. His head's down low, and you can see the shots. When you punch down, it's a little bit awkward.
It's hard. It's a different ball game punching down, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You chin. No matter what you can do, your chin, especially going down, your chin's more open than if it's here. So, and like you said, you hit the nail on the head. Nick's been fighting. Everybody's been taller than Nick. Everyone's had better range than Nick's entire career, basically. So, like you said, it's easier for him. It's not as easy for when you're the taller man and you're not used to fighting somebody that short. That's when things can go a bit sticky for you as well.
Yeah, exactly that. He's not just physical either. He's very physical, but he's not just physical. He can box. He can jab. One shot that sticks out. Even when I boxed him, this is 8 years ago. He looked at me. He jabbed to the head, and he looked at me chest. I thought he was going to jab the body. He just hit me right in the nose with another jab. If the feints, the little feints and the little tricks and the little don't know. He's cleverer than he seems.
Yeah, we look forward to that main event, WBA featherweight world title scrap. A couple of names on the undercard that really do stand out in Andrew Kane and Jack Turner in particular. He's one of my favourite young fighters coming through. I think Andrew Kane's got 12 knockouts in 14 wins, and Jack Turner, I think it's 12 in 13. Real crop of young prospects, young fighters, if you like, in and around the title mix. But those two in particular, Brian, are really good fighters that we're excited to see come Saturday night.
Yeah. So Andrew Kane, I think he's the best to come out of the city. He's so spiteful. He he's the best fighter to come out the city, in my opinion. He's a real fighter, and
He's one of them,
he's
Andrew Kane, where even on
yeah,
fight week, like say, I'll be down at the press conference on Thursday, fingers crossed, and he's the kind of guy where he's locked in. He has that mean
yeah,
demeanor, that mean scouse look, and I think I wouldn't even
Yeah.
approach him for an interview. Never mind fight the
yeah.
man. I'd never even approach him for an interview.
He's locked in.
Yeah.
He's locked in forever. I think he's just locked in forever. It doesn't matter if it's fight week or he's just come off a fight. He's just locked in. He's ready to fight anytime. He's in and he means business.
And
And he's a brilliant boxer as well.
Yeah.
So even on top of that, he's probably the best boxer.
what is it with these scousers, man, that can stand and bang and box as well? Jack Turner's the same. The other guy that I mentioned, Nick Ball in the main event, Andrew Kane.
Yeah.
These guys are box circles
Yeah.
around you, and they'll chin you when they decide.
And all I need to know what they're eating.
Yeah, Brian, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. I'll let you go.
Yeah.
I'll let you get back to your evening. Thanks for jumping on the
Yeah.
podcast with me and Jamie.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Much appreciated, Brian.
See you soon.
See you soon, brother.
Jamie's a really good guy. Is Brian. I don't want to come across as a fanboy like we always do, but whether we get world champions on there or Central Area champion, similar to Brian Phillips, it's just really refreshing, and it just goes to show you win those titles, whether it be Central Area, English, fringe world titles, whatever it might be. It's just a proud moment, and it was really nice to hear him speak so proudly of his accomplishment.
Yeah. Do you know what took how happy he was to it? You could see, you couldn't hide how happy he was to tell you that he was a Central Area champion. And yeah, it was just good to see, because like I said, they kind of get brushed over them titles, and it's like it's so hard to win it. Like, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's refreshing, and it's refreshing to see that he acknowledged that he probably brushed over it younger when he was early in his career, and then to come back and win it, and you can see that what it means, how much it means to him. Yeah, it's brilliant.
All right, let's move into it. It's going to be quite funny, this segment of the podcast, because it's the fact that we're both going to be able to eat our words, but then give the other one a bit of grief, because we was kind of right on one, wrong on the other both ways. So I'm going to go first. I'm going to grab the bull by the horns here. And the new super welterweight champion, Josh Pretty Boy Kelly. For me, not being biased, he put on an absolute boxing clinic. I've seen people tweet and post and say, he was running and he was on his bike. He done what he had to do. He was the matador to the bull. And for me, at times, he stood and traded. He was dropped in the ninth, heavy. I think he said that he forgot all about round 10. So it goes to show how much trouble he was in that ninth round when he went down. But he's shown the heart, the determination, the grit. He dropped Murtazaliev himself in round 4, I think it was. And I thought the scorecards were too close for me. I had Josh Kelly winning fairly comfortable. What say you?
Yeah, like I said, I eat my words, mate. I wanted to, though. I did say I wanted to eat my words. And do you know what? He was very comfortable. Like you said, I think the scorecards were too close. It was very comfortable up until the ninth. But when he got hit in the ninth, he went down. I thought, oh no. Here we go. I thought, hey, I've got one over on Luke. Now I'm like, we were on for it. But I'm so glad that he came back and we seen it out. And it wasn't no running. It was a boxing masterclass at times. I'm not going to go as far as say it was punch perfect, because he did get dropped. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you can't go swimming and not get wet. And he was up against a formidable puncher, and he got caught. But like you said, he boxed his head off for most of the fight. And wow, I'm so glad he's won, because I'll be honest, I didn't think he was gonna win, and I'm glad he's proved me wrong, because there's now better than seeing a new British champion and on the world stage, especially when we've not got as many as we used to have. So yeah, big up the Pretty Boy Kelly.
Absolutely, and I think shout out to Adam Booth. He's had a long, storied, decorated career with George Groves and David Hay, amongst other fighters. He just seemed really, really proud of Josh Kelly. And if there's anyone that you want in your corner to mastermind a game plan, to box, a move, and get around a dangerous operator, it's Adam Booth. So yeah, shout out to Adam Booth.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's got a funny way of knowing how to beat some of these big punchers. And do you know what? What I seen something in it, and I don't know why I didn't realize this, but someone said obviously Adam Booth, he's not going to put him in there, with a killer like that if he didn't think he was capable of getting the win. And shout out Adam Booth because he all like what the British public and are seeing in him and where he was going to go. And it's weird because they've stayed together the entire time through the ups and the downs.
That's it, because it's so easy nowadays. We've seen Daniel Dubois leave Don Charles, go somewhere else, come back to Don Charles. He's moved around in his career. Anthony Joshua, he moved on from Ron McCracken, and we've seen that he's not really settled with anybody. It happens in the sport, but to see Josh Kelly fall apart the way he did against David Avanesian way back when, 4 or 5 years ago now, but to stick with Adam Booth, sort his problems out away from the sport, because in the build up to this fight, we heard a lot about his outer ring issues. He seems to become a very mature, disciplined. He's found God. He was very forthright with his comments on his belief and his faith, and that's got him in the right headspace. And it all come to fruition. And it was a real feel good moment. There was one post fight interview I seen, and he's a good looking lad. He's champion of the world. He's got a few quid in the bank, I'd imagine. But that young boy was talking to Brian before about when you're a kid and you're looking at winning world titles and you're looking at Floyd Mayweather and fighters like that. To see Josh sat on that sofa in his changing room with that world title like strapped across him, it just gives that impression of the kid in him, the one that had all these dreams and hopes at 10, 11, 12 years of age. It had all come to fruition. It was a real feel good moment.
Yeah, yeah, and then he's one of them as well, Josh Kelly, where everybody thought he was going to do it a lot sooner than he has,
Yeah,
and sort of fell off the trail. So to the point where a lot of people didn't believe that he would go on and become a world champion. So to see him, and like you said, he started out in the sport. It was all to be a world champion. He probably at times in his career, he probably thought, you know what, am I going to be able to? Am I good enough?
yeah,
And he stuck through it. He's flown under the radar at times where we probably didn't want him to, but it's all worked out
yeah.
for the better in the end. And I'm just so glad to see that he's finally won a world title, because coming through when you had all them Team GB, he was the one at the time where it was like, out of them all, he's going to win a world title. And it was weird because it didn't fall his way for a long time. But it's so good because when you do watch him, his talent is incredible. It's just about keeping him level-headed and keeping him conditioned throughout the fight. And like you said, with maturity, he's got older, and that seems to all have come into his game. And yeah, let's see where the road lies for Josh Kelly now, because he's got certainly a lot of paths he can go down.
Definitely, it was the whole thing that he'd signed to fight Jaron Boots Ennis. And as talented as Josh Kelly is, I think he goes in as a sizable underdog against Boots. I'd like to see him be given at least a voluntary, make a big, even though he won the title in his adopted, or not adopted home city, but it was in Newcastle. He's from Sunderland. You get what I mean? His neighbouring city, if you like. It'd be nice to see him. I think he wants to fight the Stadium of Light. I'm not sure if Boots Ennis would come over to the UK for that fight. But it'd be good to see Josh Kelly get, at least a voluntary. He's went in there with one of the most avoided fighters in the division, in the sport, arguably, in Murtazaliev. So it'd be good to see him get some sort of voluntary and be able to enjoy the fruits of his labour. A name that we mentioned last week, and it come up again briefly. Are we taking Josh Kelly against Conor Benn at 154 for the IBF World Title? It seems that Conor Benn is adamant his next fight is at 147, seemingly for a world title. But then there was the whole Shakur Stevenson thing, which we'll get onto later. So maybe it's just big fights, big money, and Conor Benn, Josh Kelly for a world title in the stadium in the northeast is big money for me. Are we having that?
Yeah, no, I think if you're Conor Benn, let's be realistic, you're not going to get the money that you've got fighting Eubank. And at 147, he's don't matter whether you fight Shakur or whoever you fight at whoever it's going to be at 147, he's not going to generate as much money as another big British fight. And I think I'd love to watch. I'd love to watch them both go, because their careers was kind of like Conor Benn, Josh Kelly, and then it's kind of gone like that.
Yeah.
And where they're both, and I think, again, that's a stadium fight, Stadium of Light, St. James's Park. It sells out, and Conor Benn gets the money, and I think we've got another good British dust up. I don't know. I just can't see. I don't know why, but I can't see that fight happening. And I don't think it would be Josh Kelly's fault why that fight doesn't happen.
Yeah, I'm going to put it out there early, and we can soundbite this and clip it and crop it and whatever you want to do. Josh Kelly stands Conor Benn on his head and arguably stops him late.
Well, that's why I said I don't think it will happen, because I genuinely think that they won't put him in with they won't put Conor Benn in because he's so marketable right now. He makes so much money that if he goes and loses to Josh Kelly, then the cash cow's gone for the time being. Whereas they can strategically maneuver him in a way, make him a world champion. But yeah, I think that's the fight to make personally.
Yeah.
And I think Josh Kelly beats him, but I don't think we'll see it at this stage. I don't think we'll probably ever see that fight.
Yeah, we wait with bated breath to see what's next for Josh Kelly. Congrats on a massive win, and as you say, following on from Dalton Smith, both of them winning world titles in the way they did. Just before we move on, third punchers, underdogs to go in there, and we've added two British world champions to the roster, and we're not even out of January or just out of January. What a start to the year for British boxing.
Yeah, and long may it continue. If it carries on like this, we could have 24 new champions if we keep winning every month.
Yeah, absolutely. We look forward to that. That'll be some form for 2026. Jamie, I stayed up, man. I watched the entire show in the Northeast. Josh Padley winning the European title. Is it Turhan, the lightweight world champion? She was highly touted by Matchroom, the biggest puncher in female boxing, pound for pound. Wasn't really sold on her. She retained the title on a points decision, but yeah, it looked very crude to me. But she got the win, and maybe it was just enough night. Everyone's entitled to one. But I stayed up all the way through, watched the main event, flicked over to WWE, watched the ending of the Royal Rumble, and then I thought, you know what? I'll watch some of the undercard of this show in Madison Square Garden, the Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, Ring Magazine show in the Mecca of boxing. And it was one of those cards, maybe not as big and as strong as some that we've seen in Riyadh, but still had some quality fights on there and some hair-raising moments, shall we say, to say the least. I'm buzzing with that. I didn't even write that down. That's just come off the top of the dome. We'll get straight into it. We'll start there. Jarrell Miller, we've said what we've said about him. We're not going to walk down that path again. He was in with Kingsley Iber in a fight that many were saying can't go past 4 rounds. It did go past 4 rounds, and it was a bit laboured, a bit scruffy. It was a horrible watch at times.
Yeah, it was bad to watch.
Jarrell Miller got the win, but he's gone viral, super viral, for his toupee coming off. Like, unbelievable scenes.
Never seen anything like that in my life. That was absolutely wild. Like, even the commentators just sat there going, is that his hair coming off?
You know when he said that? You know when he said that and he went, is his hair coming off? I'm like, why are these commentators making a comment on his appearance? I thought, has he got a dodgy haircut? Has he got like a pattern on the side or something I've missed? So I'm like, why did he mention it? Because Chris Mannix and the others. And then it was like, what's going on, and shout out to Jarrell Miller. He couldn't really do anything else because he's got what 20,000 is it in Madison Square Garden, and dare I say a few 100,000 around the world watching on DAZN, and he just ripped it off, didn't he? And he looked out like Keystone Cops. It was unbelievable. He went on to get the win, but like I say, the viral numbers are going to do much more for his marketability. The drugs pass, the cheating, all that kind of thing. Is he's still getting these big opportunities, but that viral moment is going to do more for his marketability than ultimately the win that he went on to get in. What was I say? A bit of a sluggish fight, to say the least.
Yeah, it was a terrible fight, but yeah, it's weird because that's how the boxing game's going at the moment, generating interest, whether it's from a viral moment or what. Eyes are on you, so you're going to get opportunities, and Jarrell Miller will always get opportunities because as much as we've talked about is the bad side of him. The good side is he is a character and he makes people laugh, and he puts eyes on when he's being videoed, and that's just gonna fucking send him to the stratosphere. He'll get more opportunities just off the back of his head, ripping his hair out, which is crazy.
Absolutely. We followed on then into Bruce Shoo Carrington. He likes to call New York Shoe York, and he was in with Carlos Castro. He had his moments in the fight, but Bruce Carrington's quickly becoming one of my favourite non-UK fighters to watch. So these kind of guys where you'll see him on an undercard, or maybe he might headline now with winning that vacant WBC world title. He might be headlining next time he's out, but he's quickly becoming one of these guys where I'm going to go out my way to make sure I'm getting up at 3-4 o'clock in the morning to watch Shoo because that knockout was brutal, and there was pockets of action in that fight where I thought this guy's the real deal.
Yeah, he was mustard, and the stoppage was savage. And like you said, it's one where you've got to take notice as a non-UK fighter, and you see him, and you're like, wow, it weren't even just the case that he was fighting somebody he was miles above, like the punch selection, the way he went about the bout, the way he dominated the ring, dominated the performance. It was just, wow, this kid's special. It's certainly like it's one where I'm gonna have to take more notice in Shushu and start watching him more, because that's another. It's crazy. It's another great American fighter coming through that. Yeah, they're churning him out at the moment, and it's going to be interesting to watch sort of how his career develops, and especially in a country that's developing all these fighters, and a lot of them that are just as good around his weight.
Definitely, and one that's in his weight class is our Nick Ball, who we're talking about this weekend. He defends his world title. If he goes in there, gets the win with Brandon Figueroa, we know Nick Ball's not taking an easy fight. You know, every title defense has been against world class operators. Imagine a unification with Nick Ball and Shushu Carrington. That's box office. That, whether it be in the States, in Riyadh, or in Liverpool, what a fight that'd be, man. Sign me up for that straight away.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. But I'd still back Nick Ball, mate. I've never seen a guy that small just that hard.
Yeah.
And like Tyson Fury says, it's a good job that he's only as small as you, because we'd all be in trouble.
Absolutely. You know, talking about America churning out these young talents, Keyshawn Davis, he's bouncing back from adversity and not a loss as such, but losing his world title at 135 at WBO title, he won so well against Brenchick. He lost it on the scales, coming in 5 pounds over the lightweight limit, which was a terrible look. But then he had the whole controversy: was he fighting his brother's opponent in the changing rooms or whatever it was? He's not come across very well recently, Keyshawn Davis, and it's a bit of a, you're wondering, is this like, career suicide? He's on a downward spiral. He can't deal with the limelight, whatever it might be. But he gets in there with Jermaine Ortiz, who only lost to Lomachenko, and a controversial loss to Teofimo Lopez, and Keyshawn Davis battered him from pillar to post, outboxed him for 9 or 10 rounds, and then when he seen that he had his man hurt in the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th, he went for the kill. Spiteful, nasty, right up until 12 or 13 seconds left in the 12th round. He could have circled him, he could have clowned him, whatever he might do. He didn't. He wanted that stoppage, and boy, did he get it with a couple of crunching body shots.
Yeah, they were horrible then, but I felt them body shots. Oh, when he winged him in, and he went down. I was like, yeah, mate, it took the wind out of me. And like you said, it was spiteful. He was being very spiteful, and I love to see that in a fight where you're dominating. It's about making a statement, because there's no title on the line. But there's nothing coming back that's going to hurt you. Demolition time now, and he did it, and he got it in the end. And it was good to watch somebody convincingly win and still go up to the very last second trying to get the knockout.
Another reason, right? We love an asterisk here, and I'm going to chuck one out there. I had a bet on Shushu Carrington and Keyshawn Davis both to win as a double, both to win by stoppage. So for him to get it, it's almost like a 90th minute winner winning your football accumulator. When he stops him in the 12th round with that amount of time left, I was like, this is not coming in. And then the next minute, whack, left hook to the solar plex, and he drops him, and I'm like, ref don't count because he's 13 seconds left. So if you count him and he gets up at 10, the bell's going to save him. And the fact that he waved it off straight away, I was like, yeah, that's it.
You don't have to get lucky with a view, do you?
I have a losses, don't worry. Like I say, we'll get to the main event. We stroll into it nicely. I lost a few quid on Teofimo Lopez. I had to back my prediction, which I give on last week's episode of Let's Stop Boxing podcast. But ultimately, you know what? Like, I'll eat my words. You said at the start you'll eat your words. I'll eat them, and I'll eat them, and I'll eat them, because Shakur Stevenson is that guy, man. That was a boxing masterclass against a world-class opponent in Teofimo Lopez. This weren't against, a voluntary homecoming title defense against someone that you're expected to beat. Yes, Shakur was the favorite going in, but Teofimo Lopez has beat Lomachenko. He's beat Jermaine Ortiz. He's got other Josh Taylor. He was an underdog in that fight. He beat Josh Taylor, so he's shown that he can get in there and upset the odds when he's the underdog. But there was no upsetting Shakur Stevenson, man. That was as good as it gets. But if the stoppage, if that was the cherry on the cake, then so be it. But he put every other ingredient in the cake and iced the cake as well. So yeah, shout out to Shakur Stevenson, man. A pound for pound superstar in my book.
Unbelievable performance, unbelievable. And like I said last week, this is his shining moment now. Against Teofimo, where it was a 50-50, 60-40, who was going to win it. He made it look so easy against Teofimo Lopez. That has got to be, for anybody, whether you know boxing or not, has got to make you stand notice and go, shit, this boy Shakur is special. Because he reminds me of Mayweather, where he's in there with killers that are the best of all time, and he just makes them look shit. And it's just like, wow. And it's not like Shakur was on the back foot. He weren't running. He was very much there in the pocket, and he fought a fight of countering. And you know what? He made Teofimo overextend, overreach, jump in when he went out of range. His footwork is so impeccable. Just little tiny, tiny little steps that he does just to take himself out of range, make you overshoot, pop, and he was just picking him off at will to the point where like he forced Teofimo to keep shooting and just pop. Pinking his head off. Every time he come in, oh, Tio's got him here. It was the most comfortable fight I've seen somebody. And against somebody so good, like you said, he's a he's beating all these names. He's a unified champion. It's like, wow. Yeah. Like, you put respect on Shakur's name because that was special.
Yeah, you know what? We're not going to make any excuses here. We're not taking nothing away from Shakur. I think in our words that we've already said, we can't take anything away from him. But one thing I want to highlight is Teofimo Lopez Sr. makes Tunde Ajayi look like Emmanuel Stewart. You know, the corner work of Senior. I'm not a massive fan of Teofimo Lopez Senior anyway. I think his shenanigans at the weigh-ins and the press conferences. The fight is the fighter. The fight is the megastar, the superstar, the trainer, the manager. They should be in the background working to do the best for that fighter and make sure he's as prepared as he can be to get in the ring and do a job. Whether he's the underdog, whether he's a favorite, whether he's a world champion, whether he's a British title contender, whatever it is, the superstar is the fighter. Teofimo Lopez Sr. seems to want to get in all these social media beefs, all these social media antics, dancing around at weigh-ins and press conferences, making it about him. And we know Teofimo Lopez Jr. has got these mental frailties. We've seen him out question himself after the win over Sandor Martin, I think it was. That was another questionable win that he had. We've seen that he has these frailties. Am I good enough? Am I still got it? He needs guidance. He needs strength. And you know what? He needs a trainer and he needs a coach and he needs a manager, but he needs a dad. And when this clown is being none of the above, he's very exposed, and some of the corner work, man. Hit him. Go out there and hit him. I need you to hit him. Well, try and glass smoke. You know what I mean? Like it's
like when people at football and they go just score. Well, obviously, mate, that's the plan. How do you score? How's he going to hit him? That's where you have a good cornerman that picks. That's the whole point of having a good cornerman. Whereas they're watching from the outside, they're spotting little things, And I tell you what, Shakur's corner were laughing because like you'll keep letting him do what he's doing. Yeah. He's shooting him from out of range. You can see everything coming. Just pick him off. They didn't have to change a thing. Whereas Tio, his dad should be like, right, this ain't working. This is what we need to do. We need to double up on the jab. We need to disrupt his rhythm. We need to hold more, rough it up, make it a bit of a fight. There was nothing. It was just like he said, come on, son, get out there and hit him. I need you to hit him. I need you to hurt him. The fuck? Well, obviously, it's a boxing. It's a fight, mate. Well, how is he going to do it? That's what you need to be telling him what he needs to do. Hey, and if he does that and it doesn't work, no one's going to sit here and slander you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we look forward to see what's next for Teofimo Lopez. He's had a great career. He's accomplished a hell of a lot. He's saying that he's going to go up to 147. So if he can, keep the physicality, keep the speed, keep the power, I could see him being a force up at 147. So we'll see what he's doing next. But I just want to, again, go down a bit of a tangent, bit off on a random one. But Dalton Smith winning that world title against Subriel Matias in the way that he did. And we've clamoured a long time in the UK for Dalton Smith against Adam Azim. And we was told one of them needs a world title or this, that, and the other. He's going to got a world title. Now, Azim's side, Ben Shalom and whatnot, are saying, let's make it unification. Let's wait for Adam Azim to get a world title. This is a killer division at 140, man. If Keyshawn Davis sticks around there, you've got Shakur Stevenson holding the WBO. Dalton Smith for the WBC. I think the WBA is Gary Antoine Russell, who's a great fighter in his own right, and then the IBF is Richardson Hitchens. We're not talking about Adam Azim just walking up and going, yeah, I'm going to win a world title in my next fight. If he reschedules the Lemos fight, that's a tough fight in of itself. But he wins that, and then he's not guaranteed to beat Richardson Hitchens. He's not going to go and fight Shakur Stevenson. That was one of the things that I was thinking when I was watching it. I even thought, Dalton Smith, if he's looking for a unification fight or whatnot, he's in there with killers. It's a real strong division, and yeah, the idea that Adam Azim's just going to go and pick up a world title at will is a bit baffling to me, man, because 140 is on fire.
Yeah, and like I said last week, it's a bit frustrating that he thinks that now that Dalton Smith's won a world title, that means you and him should have a fucking fight for it. No, you had the opportunities and you need to go and earn your bread and butter and put yourself in that position that Dalton Smith had to do when you didn't want to fight him at the time because it wasn't the right time, weren't marketable. Nah, no. I'm with you on it. It's I don't know, see where you think you're just going to walk in and get a world title opportunity. Yeah, and like you said, if you do, some killers, absolute killers.
It's such an active division, though. I'm not sure there's a division like it where we've had Dalton Smith at the start of January, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez at the end of January, and then by the end of February, the other two champions would have defended the belts as well because they're both on the Mario Barrios, Ryan Garcia undercard. So it's a division that's stacked full of talent and stacked full of active fighters, which an active fighter is a dangerous fighter, man.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course.
Shakur Stevenson when he won, I don't know what to make of this man, right? Calls out Conor Benn. That was the first name off the tip of his tongue. And I tweeted and I said, without winning so much as a domestic title, Conor Benn's been called out from everyone from 135 to 140 to 147 to 154 to 160 to even 168 with a Conor Benn Chris Eubank trilogy. It's insane. And you know what? I think he's playing the market so well. The management team, Eddie, the promoter, even down to Conor Benn dyeing his hair blonde and going out there. I think that was a methodical move. I think it was something that he thought about. He's got to stand out, the blonde hair, the slim shady look. I think all that was part of the plan to go over there and antagonize people, to ruffle feathers and put himself in line for these big fights. But I don't know whether it's disappointment or I don't know, but I just thought Shakur Stevenson should have been like call out Dalton Smith, call out the other champion, say you're going to go to 147 and fight Devin Haney or what it might be. I just think it's mad that Conor Benn, off the back of a loss to Chris Eubank and then a win over a shot to pieces Eubank, is such a hot commodity.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve a fight with Shakur Steve, and it was mad to see Shakur calling him out. But I think it's a marketing employ that fight happening, building up some marketability. But I think I feel a bit tight on Shakur because I feel like that was a way of pushing Ben's name more so as to benefit Shakur, because there's no benefit to Shakur to fight Conor Benn, but there's a huge benefit in marketability to push Conor Benn fighting Shakur. So I thought that was a bit weird. I thought it didn't make sense. But it makes sense in the terms of they're both big names at the moment.
Yeah.
They're both the forefront of social media in boxing. So it kind of makes sense, but it kind of doesn't because they're not really going to fight, I don't think.
You know what? I don't want to make it out like we're shitting on Conor Benn because Conor Benn's one of my favorite fighters to watch. And, the one thing I want is I want a clarity around the whole drug scandal, the two failed tests, and we never really got any clarity on that. He was exonerated, I heard some point this week, and I don't want to get myself in trouble, but allegedly it was a threat to sue the doping agency that found the discrepancy, that they couldn't continue the fight against Conor Benn, and it was kind of brushed under the carpet. I don't want to get myself in trouble. I'm saying allegedly. That's what we heard on social media. And the other thing is, I want him to get a substantial victory in a weight class that he's looking to be competitive in. So if you're going to win a world title at welterweight, go get that Rolly Romero fight, the winner of Barrios, Ryan Garcia, or whatnot. You catch it, you're trying to find a catch weight by with Shakur Stevenson. You're coming off your career best win against Chris Eubank Jr., which, yeah, for legacy and money, it was great, but for your career, it's not doing anything other than obviously building up your name and your profile. But in terms of winning a world title, that does nothing for it. And then we've got him saying he wouldn't fight with a rehydration clause with Shakur Stevenson, which is so ironic. He won't fight Lewis Crocker for the IBF welterweight world title because he didn't want to do the £10 rehydration. Come on. Like,
yeah, that's where I'm like,
in the positions, why are we not calling him out for this? If I was at a press conference and I got the opportunity to speak to Conor Benn, I'd probably be like shitting on my own doorstep and get myself into trouble with Matchroom. But I'd be like asking these questions. The people that are in the positions, they don't want to lose their accreditation, man.
Yeah, no, you're right, and that's what pisses me off sometimes. It's like, why is nobody going? Look, where's the hypocrisy is a joke. You can't, and I'm not being funny. People were calling for the second fight with Chris Eubank. Oh, come on, like, do the right thing. Don't have the rehydration clause. Nope, you were adamant. You beat him. And I'm sorry, Conor Benn, and you can fucking try, you can do all that. I'm a big hard man if you ever see me in person, but I'll tell you in person the same. You didn't beat the best Chris Eubank.
Yeah.
You did not beat him. End of story. He was dehydrated to fuck. Both fights, and he beat you the first one, and he didn't have enough time to recover for the second. So for you to turn around and not fight people on a rehydration clause is absolutely sickening. And I think, hang your head in shame, not just you, but your team and your promoter, because you don't want to do this. You want to fucking give it all the big I am. I'm the best. Look at me. I beat. Sorry, like, it's really pissed me off. It's really pissed me off that he's gone there with a rehydration clause.
Yeah, and you know what? Furthermore, like, not that we necessarily need to see a trilogy fight with Chris Eubank because I thought it should have just been a one-off spectacle, and it was a great fight first time around. So I get why there was a rematch, but there's something about Edit and Matchroom where if one of their fighters loses and then gets the win in the rematch, that there's no talk of a trilogy. I think like these scores need to be settled. You know, so say for instance, Anthony Joshua. We all know I'm the biggest Anthony Joshua fan in the world, but he got knocked out by Andy Ruiz, gets the rematch, beats him on points. I'm all for a rubber. I said it at the time. I was like, I don't get how there's not a trilogy. Look at Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Contentious first fight. It was a draw. Second fight, third fight. You know, they settled the score. There's no question that Tyson Fury will forever be looked at and recognised as a better, greater champion than Deontay Wilder. Beterbiev and Bivol in recent times, they're looking to fight in a trilogy. I think they're both going to look to get on the same card in May, and then they're going to fight at the end of the year. Whether Beterbiev's a bit older and Bivol's coming into his prime, whatever it might be, they're still going to settle the score there. They're one apiece. Golovkin and Canelo, there was controversy there. They fought two, three times. You know, Matchroom, like you seem to get that victory. Like Conor Benn now, he's looked at as like, oh, I beat Chris Eubank, and we're not forgetting that he lost the fight and lost the fight clearly the first time. Just because it was a great fight, he still lost and he lost unanimously. That doesn't necessarily put him miles ahead of Chris Eubank in that it was always going to happen. You know what I mean? Like it's equal. It's
Yeah,
one
it's
victory
weird.
apiece. I don't necessarily want to see the trilogy,
Yeah,
but it's not just like you know you spanked him twice. You didn't.
yeah, and that's what pisses me off again. It's like you're going around like you're the best now. Like, yeah. I did it, and like I showed, you know, and it was just like, yeah, but you still lost. Like, you lost the first fight. And I'm sorry, but fight at 168, no rehydration clauses. Give don't give Eubank the time to train and prepare. And I can tell you what, it'd be a different fight. It'd be a different fight. And match, put the one with him in Matchroom, give him credit. They're smart. He knows what he's doing, Eddie Hearn.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we're not shitting on Conor Benn. We're just calling a spade a spade. You know, if
Yeah,
something's not
saying
right,
it as
we're
it
going
is.
to call it out. Yeah, we're always going to speak our mind. And shout out to Conor Benn. If he goes on to win a world title, we'll be fully behind him. Any other news, Jamie, before we close off? We had the official announcement for Derek Chisora, Deontay Wilder,
Yeah.
and we had an official announcement for Tyson Fury, Aslanbek Makhmudov. Very clever marketing from Team Fury. It's on Netflix. I'm not sure what that means with Queensberry. I thought it was going to be on DAZN and whatever else. But with the whole Tyson Fury at home with the Furies or whatever it is on Netflix, I get that it all ties in with Netflix and it'll be a massive, massive deal. A lot of eyeballs. Tyson Fury's a great character. I'm actually happy to see him back in the division. I don't want to see any of these false retirements. We're bored of it now. It's almost become a running joke. It's gone full 360. People's annoyed now. They just laugh at it. But Makhmudov is you know he's a hot name in the heavyweight division with that win over Dave Allen. You know Dave Allen is Dave Allen, but he's a popular heavyweight, so a lot of people watch that fight with Dave Allen and Makhmudov. So I get the comeback fight being Makhmudov. I'm happy with that with Tyson Fury.
Yeah, no, I am. I think it's a good fight. It's one where, you know, he's not coming back and fighting a Pianetta. It's a tough opponent. Yeah, he beat Dave Allen, but it's a winnable fight for him as well. Like you said, it's marketed great. You know, he can come easily beat him and then get his world title shot. And but it's also pretty dangerous because if he's not switched on Fury and if he's going to go in there and just it'll be an easy night's work, he'll make it an hard night's work. So, but I'm all for it, and I'm all for Deontay Wilder and Chisora as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That being on the zone, not on Sky Sports, and with Misfits Pro and whatever else. There's a lot of complications and a lot of stories being unraveled there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Chisora Wilder. We spoke about that a lot on the pod last week, so we don't need to go into it too much. But is there anything else you want to get off your chest before we close out?
No, I think I think I've got quite a bit off my chest there tonight. Ate me words, threw my frustrations out. It is what it is. Now I'm good.
Yeah, Jamie's going to sleep well tonight. Well, guys, that brings episode 15 of the Let's Talk Boxing podcast to an end. I'd like to thank Jamie, as always, for being on with me this week. I'd like to thank Brian Phillips, great guy, and we look forward to seeing what's coming in 2026 for him. And we look forward to Nick Ball defending his WBA featherweight world title against Brandon Figueroa this Saturday. Guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe, give us a share, all the feedback, all the reviews. It's all greatly appreciated. I've been Luke, he's been Jamie, and we'll see you next week.